Save the Semantics, episode 77. It is June 22nd, 2019. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble about things and most notably myself and other stuff that I have on my mind. Which in this case, oh shit, I almost dropped my phone. Sorry if I fucked up your audio there. And I forgot, I just completely lost my train of thought. And yeah, mostly just talking about things that I witnessed, maybe some events that have been ongoing, most of which I don't really pay attention to. I don't really pay attention too much to politics all that much because that depresses me, and I'm sure it depresses everyone else who pays attention to that. And I'd rather not. It's condescending to say waste my time paying attention to news because it's not a waste of time. You know, it's good to be informed about things, current events that are going on. It's just too much for me to handle at the moment, is all I'm saying. Even though I don't really have a whole lot going on right now. I'm just working. Pretty similar week to last week. I don't have too much really on my mind. It's been relatively calm for the most part. Nothing too crazy, nothing too stressful. I've just been, I guess I've just been a little bored. That's all, I think it's nice to experience boredom once in a while, For me, I'm like, that's like a fear of mine. It's a weird thing, but like, I like, having time to myself and having that time to like relax and whatnot, but man, it's always sort of that lingering thing that like if I'm in this position for too long, I will just become so exacerbated. What's the word? I would just be so exhausted being in that position of just being bored all the time that I just have to. I just can't sit in place for too long, like I'm just not that type of person. I've mentioned before, I'm not the biggest fan of like binging movies and stuff like that, or playing games for more than a couple hours, because then I just kind of start to lose my mind a little bit. I have to be in a state of productivity. I mean, whatever that may be, whether that may be like working out and stuff like that. And that's something that I've considered too. I haven't really done a whole lot of working out lately, just because I feel like I don't know, it just sort of takes the time out of my day. I don't want to drive all the way to a gym, even though it's really not that far. I don't know, it's just like sort of stepping out of my comfort zone in that sense. I should really get back to working out though. I had like a decent routine the last like few months before finals came and kind of slammed me back, and I'm like, I just can't really work out right now, I just gotta focus on academics, and I'm glad I did that, because generally, like, I feel like it's like working out is it's a weirdly relaxing thing, like it's something that keeps your mind off of stuff, but for me, I usually, like, if I need to complete something, if I have to get some work done, that kind of is lingering, at the back of my head, so I'm like, I gotta get this done right now at this moment, so I can't be bothered to put in my time to, strengthening my body or whatever, so, yeah, so I just haven't set forth a schedule for me to work out. I've just kind of been lounging around, I guess, and I feel like I'm kind of losing my mind just a little bit, just a little bit. I am glad, I've mentioned before that I'm glad that, school is out and all that. I think last like episode I've noticed I replayed a little bit of it, and like I just sounded so lethargic. I think I was just tired from all this, and then like I didn't really give myself like, no, that's not the right thing. I think I was just so tired in that moment, like I didn't know if I was even in the right state of mind to put out like an episode. I was just kind of running out of shit to talk about, I guess. Like, and I like I usually try to jot down some ideas, but I just had no idea how to articulate it or make it sound at all enticing at all. I mean, whatever the hell that means for this podcast, like I don't even know. I always mention this. I don't know exactly what this is. Is this like a vlog type of situation? Yeah, I guess it is, like a weekly, not bi-weekly, but, bi-monthly update on things that I have going on in my life. Too lazy to write down, too lazy to journal and stuff like that. That's something that I used to do. But yeah, last week I was just like, I wanted to put out like an episode, but I just didn't know what the fuck to even go on about. I was just like, I have some ideas, but a lot of these ideas that I wrote down were like 2 weeks old, and I'm like, this is just not even relevant in my head anymore, I gotta like recollect my memory and start thinking back to what I was previously thinking about, it's like, well, Myra, why don't you just record it like the day of? It's like, yeah, but like I had other stuff to do, and like I'd rather set just a little bit of time for myself, like every week, instead of just kind of spontaneously doing it. This is the one thing that I have like scheduled for myself. Everything else is just kind of, up for grabs. I don't know. I just want to set aside, I want to set some other things. I want to keep myself busy in a sense. And like I am busy, like I'm busy with work and stuff, but it's just, it's a different type of busy, like I'm trying to like figure this out. Like I'm trying to figure out like kind of how to be like an adult, because like during the summer right now is when, there's not really school, and this is sort of like what I kind of foresee as the next year is going to be like, after graduation, right? I don't have any academic responsibility, except maybe if I want to try to, apply for like the CPA, and then I got to study for that and stuff. But outside of that, I got to try to balance out everything else, like my social life, my own time, and then just like everything else. So like, I don't know. I'm just like, it's sort of interesting to kind of look at it, like I got to try to budget my time in a sense, right? Work, and sort of look at my work schedule, and then look at all the time that I have in between that. I gotta try to like find like a routine that kind of works for me, like working out and stuff like that. Just because I just need to do something outside other than just this one thing, like I'm worried that I'm just gonna fall into this cycle of where I'm just not, I'm too tired from work, and I'm just not motivated enough to really like do anything else, do anything productive. I think that's the one thing. That's one of the things that I like. I like being in is like when I'm in school, I kind of have to balance that out, and I'm like, I have these responsibilities that I have. I have like a schedule. I go to class, I work out, and then I have work sometimes. I have enough things to keep my mind occupied. But when I'm like, right now I just have a little too much time on my hands, and it's weird, I'm like, well, it's like, Myro, you should be relaxing and stuff, it's summer, you should be, somewhat happy about your academic success, and I am happy about that, but I just need to like, it's just sort of a weird thing where I have to just be constantly kind of moving and stuff, I gotta set forth some goals and stuff like that. I gotta do try to find like a new project, get into reading. I mentioned that last week. Still haven't really done a whole lot yet, maybe I'll start sometime. I'm gonna keep saying that just because like hopefully that'll motivate me to do something like that, but I just gotta like do some stuff, and yeah, I haven't done like radio in a while. I'm not really complaining all that much about it. That does take quite a bit of time as well, and I think maybe eventually sometime, like if they need me to fill in sometime, then I'll try my best to go in there. I think that'd be good for me. But I just right now I'm just trying to like other activities outside of just kind of playing video games, Netflix, YouTube. There was those three sites. I'm just kind of, there's just this, there's a hub, and those are the only three locations that I have available for me, because I don't really want to expand outside of that. But like, I do in a way. I want to try to do some more stuff that I can, try to have like a better, more well-rounded schedule, similar to like my school schedule. Like last year was pretty solid for the most part. You know, I felt like I was, you know, I mean, I had some difficult moments for sure, academically, and I guess, you know, with my own personal well-being and stuff. But I feel like at at this moment in time, I'm like in a better place than I was like last year. Like last year was just it's kind of like a shit show. I'm not gonna get into it, but like, you know, I was dealing with a bunch of other stuff, and I felt like I was trying to, you know, maintain like a relatively decent schedule, but like I just had other stuff on my mind, and I wasn't able to really concentrate and work kind of like on myself and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this year's was relatively successful in that regards, in regards to like self-improvement and just having like a relatively stable, you know, balance and schedule. So hopefully I'm trying to maintain that, you know, like I was on like a good streak. So like I don't want to just let that fall apart just because there's been, you know, there's a seasonal change, you're out of school and stuff like that. I want to set aside some time to maybe, I don't know, get back in the gym maybe, you know, maybe I'll try something new there. I'm trying to do some, again, this is another thing that I say I want to do, but I don't know if I actually will do, is I used to, and I've mentioned this before, of course, because that's just how this podcast works. It's just me mentioning things over and over again. But when I used to do a talk show at my radio station, like maybe last time I did it was a long time ago. I'm not entirely sure if it's still ongoing at the moment, but the last time I did a show was like a year ago, you know, and that maybe like a year and a half ago, and like, I want to do kind of something along those lines again. But the issue with working at the radio station, I am not at all like complaining about that at all, because like you know, working there has given me the opportunity, you know, to like talk to a lot of interesting people and play and discover new music and stuff like that. So I'm not at all like, you know, criticizing that by any means, but like I also kind of want to work with, you know, there are limitations, of course. There's only so much that I can do that the station wouldn't allow me to do, you know, like if I were to like for this podcast, there would be no way in hell this would be able to like work within like a radio setting. Like that's just not how these things work, you know. I can't openly speak my mind, because then I got to deal with, you know, FCC regulations and stuff like that. I've already swore on here before. That's just kind of the thing, you know. Like nobody's really gonna. I don't really care too much about listenership or whatever, you know. But yeah, this is just a much more personal thing, and I don't really want that to be like on open airwaves, like in the community. I mean, it's like, it's funny because like this podcast is open like everywhere. It's on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, if you ever want to listen to this podcast, it is basically available to like anywhere. It's available on YouTube, and the Podbean website, Apple Podcasts and stuff like that. It's a weird shout out to my own thing that I'm doing right now. It's very meta. But yeah, I want to try to do some more maybe interviews and stuff like that. I've already reached out to like a couple of different people. I don't really want to like spoil who they are. I mean, it's not like that crazy by any means, but I just want to try, you know, I want to try to like, because I feel like I've had like some successful interviews in the past, and I have maybe one of those still like in my audio files. That was probably like the very first interview that I've conducted, and then I aired that on live on air. That worked out pretty well, and I've had some pretty good like on air interviews, like live, like where I interview live. You know, those are definitely a lot more difficult, as opposed to, you know, recording it and stuff. Because when you record, you can edit out stuff. But yeah, I want to try to kind of do something like that, but do it within my own means. The issue that comes with doing that kind of thing is that, you know, I don't exactly when I'm like when I go out and try to interview people, I can use my station's label, you know, as like sort of the introduction. It's like, oh, I work at this radio station, and I run this talk show. I was interested if you would be wanting to come onto the show, or maybe I can go to your place of occupancy and try to conduct an interview, right? Like you have that label to work with, you know. But right now I'm like an independent artist, you know. I got to work by my own means. I got to try to like conduct my own stuff if I want to do it, you know. If this even like works out, like it's just gonna be kind of hard. Like I got to try to convince people, like, hey, listen, I do this kind of thing on my own, and I'm just trying out something new. Maybe if you would be interested, you'd be technically the first person or first group of people that would be, you know, be a part of this thing. You know, I don't know. It's just, I think it'd be something fun to do, something interesting to do, something that I kind of had in mind. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. You know, I have I have some aspirations and stuff. Not all of them go according to plan, as I've discovered. But you know, that's just something that I have that I've taken note of for sure. I think the other thing, it's just like when it comes to like trying to schedule things with like other people, you like. When I was doing the talk show, you know, I had work. Well, no, I mean, yeah, I was working and stuff, but like the academics was like the one thing that kind of sort of got in the way as well, you know, like it's just. But like right now, when you're working, I make a little bit more money than I would be if I wasn't working. So now I kind of have that, you know, I'm like I'm more I think I'm more motivated in a sense to try to do some new things, because then like, okay, it's okay if you lose some money on it, you know. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think I'm gonna try that out. And if you know if it turns out that I kind of lose interest in it, then I guess that's just that. But yeah, hopefully something comes out of that. Hopefully I can make something interesting happen within the next couple of months, or next few months, I guess, over the summer, so I don't kind of lose my mind, you know. And I don't want to, like, because I think, you know, I took a class and stuff like that. I don't want to lose this skill, you know. Like, I feel like this is something that can kind of be developed over time, because I actually enjoy, like, I have, you know, I do have some kind of social anxiety, I guess, but like when I do like interviews and stuff, it's a little bit more in like it's like a different frame, it's in a different situation, so it's like, of course there's some kind of pressure, but I feel like it's more comfortable for me, because then I can kind of adjust to that situation. I'm conducting that kind of interview thing where I'm, you know, talking to the person, I'm asking them questions and stuff. Like, it's not really like there's sort of an intention for me to be there, you know, as opposed to you're trying to get to know someone as like a friend or whatever, as an acquaintance. Maybe you're interested in, you know, dating them and stuff like that. It's just sort of, there's really not, you know, I don't have that intention. It's more kind of like I kind of want to get to know what you do, you know, and maybe this might interest other people, and listening and stuff like that. They're like, they learn something new about your job and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of like that's sort of why I enjoy doing it, you know. And like, yeah, I've talked about this before, and that I've wanted to be like a journalist and stuff like that. So I think this is probably the best sort of path for me to be able to work that, you know. Even, you know, I'm not going to get paid at all by any means, you know. I mean, journalists don't really get paid that much nowadays either. So, I mean, that was the reason why I got kind of turned off by, you know, doing journalism, because there was really no money in it. There's not a whole lot of job opportunities in that field. Unfortunately, it is an important job for sure. I just think it's so saturated that there's just really no, you know, there's really no reason for someone to kind of get into that field, right? Unless you're a goddamn good writer, that's for sure. And there's not really that many of those, you know. There's never really like like a journalist, a very interesting article that really catches my attention. So once in a while, there's like these amazingly written articles that I kind of just stumble across. I'm like, wow, that was a good ass read. I actually sit down and read the whole thing. But it's very like few and far in between the ones that actually catch my eye. And like just the normal news articles, right? Like, I mean, it's sort of interesting to like look at those, I guess, and sort of see the writing style of the author. Like, it's not like I'm trying to like say that like it's not really made like those I feel like those articles, the ones that talk about politics and stuff like that give a very unbiased view of the events that occurred, right? Those aren't meant to be like these passionate kind of pieces of literature. They're not. They're meant to inform the reader about something important and stuff like that, right? Or not, or it could just be some stupid article that is just made to get clicks and stuff like that. So it's kind of like there's only like a few articles I've read where I'm like, wow, this is like an amazing piece of literature. There was one that was incredibly interesting. I read a while back. I forgot who wrote it. I should save it. Like this is another thing I should do, is just kind of save these pieces of journalisms, pieces of journalism, and I think this is gonna be an interesting topic of discussion, something that I could talk about on the podcast. But it was essentially detailing this story about a woman who I think she has like some form of schizophrenia, and she for the most part her life was relatively normal, but then I think like an accident or something tragic happened in her life, and so her sister and her daughter, I believe, put her in a mental institution where she was being cared for, right? And it was sort of talking about how she was incredibly intelligent and stuff like that, and how she clearly had like an understanding of like herself and stuff. What is just moments of like complete like anarchy, where she just lost sense of like identity and like reality and stuff like that, where she completely bought into the idea that certain things were true, right? Like there was nothing that could like dissuade her from believing that, and there was like a point where I think she had wrote herself out of the mental institution to live on her own. She was living in like an abandoned house, and she was believing that her lover, who was just some guy that like she knew nothing about, was gonna come and take care of her. She was like living off of like the apple tree in the backyard, and I think she was journaling down her experiences living alone and stuff like that. And this was a very interesting case of like a mental health study, and how there's kind of it's incredibly difficult to really pinpoint down cures and really how to care for these types of individuals and how to treat for them, just because there's just a lot of factors that you can't really take into account. Like it's mental health is still kind of like a growing field. Like there's still things that can be discovered about it that can lead to benefits for people, that are dealing with that type of issue. So that was like a very interesting case of that. Unfortunately, I believe the woman passed away, and there was it was just like a very, of course it was incredibly sad, but it was also like a very interesting read about how how these sort of mental issue cases can really be just case by case, where it's really difficult to be like, okay, if there's a problem with if this person is dealing with some form of depression, then these are the steps that they should take in order for them to get better, right? Like it's just not that easy, right? It's not the same thing as if you have like a head cold or something, right? Like drink more water or whatever the hell, right? Just common, it's just like a common cold or whatever. It's not the same thing. So yeah, I think that was definitely interesting, and I'm trying to, maybe that's something that I try to engage with once again. Now that I'm kind of I have some time on my hands during the summer. Anyways, that's probably gonna do it for today. I'm gonna go to the gym. No, I'm not gonna go to the gym today. I already took a shower, so I'm not really in the mood for taking another shower. I don't want my skin to be all crusty, with hot water and stuff, if you know what I mean. Alright, I'm gonna try to maintain this for the next few months, hopefully on a consistent basis. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.